Yesterday, Bitcoin created another insane pump and created a new all-time high around the $107,000, so this is an insane move of course for Bitcoin. However, there are also a lot of interesting formations unfolding for Bitcoin, and we could also see a little bit of a correction coming into the markets. I will also have a look at a lot of interesting data and news articles coming in today, and I will also have a look at the Ethereum and the Bitcoin ETFs because they are showing a lot of interesting numbers again. Later in the video I will also have a look at the two altcoins, Cardano and Chainlink, so you want to watch this video all the way to the end to be prepared for what's coming next. Please slap up that like button because it will help my channel a lot, and let's dive right into the charts. On the 4-hour time frame, Bitcoin was running into this huge resistance, and this horizontal resistance was finally broken on Sunday. As we can see here, we made a beautiful pump to the top side and we created a new all-time high, and this all-time high was formed around the $107,000 and maybe a little bit around the $108,000. So this is an insane pump of course, and these are very bullish prices to see on the charts. But however, there's also still a CME gap open around the $101,000, so potentially Bitcoin could see a little bit of a correction coming into the market and that we close this gap. But of course, as I'm always saying, 99 out of 100 gaps are getting closed, so this could be that gap that doesn't get closed. And however, there's also still a gap open at the $76,000 and around the $10,000. So in the coming week we could see a little bit of a correction for Bitcoin and that we are going to close the gap because from these prices where we are trading now, it is approximately a little bit of a percentage decrease of 5.5%, so that is actually nothing. So this could all happen in the coming day or in this week later. And coming back to this chart, I told you that Bitcoin broke this huge horizontal resistance. We bumped to the top side, but of course I'm always waiting for a retest of the resistance to test it as support. And for instance, if Bitcoin comes back to this previous resistance to test it as support, we could also close the gap, and this CME gap could be closed around this level. So this could be a very interesting place for you to enter the market for Bitcoin in the long if you want to aim for higher targets. And yesterday we saw a huge inflow again in the Bitcoin ETFs. We saw a total cumulative inflow of $636.9 million, and this was all because BlackRock and Fidelity were buying like crazy. We can also see that a lot of other Bitcoin ETFs are buying, so we are only seeing positive numbers, which is very bullish for the Bitcoin price. And of course we are seeing a lot of buying pressure coming into the market, so let's see if Bitcoin can reach for this $40 billion target in total cumulative inflow in 2024, and of course it will push off the price of Bitcoin even more. And if we then have a look at the Ethereum ETFs, we can see yesterday we had a total inflow of $51.1 million, and that was especially because BlackRock was buying, so this is also having a very bullish effect on the price of Ethereum. So let's see if we can continue this streak in the rest of the week. And zooming out to the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin is now creating this exponential move to the top side. We are still in this higher high and higher low play. And as we can see here, the moves are getting exponential higher to the top side. So this is exactly what we want to see in a bull market. Bitcoin created a higher high. After that, we created a higher low. And from there, we saw a bounce to the top side. And now we're creating a new higher high, which is also an all-time high, of course. So let's see where this higher high will get us. We could also see that the higher high is going to stop here, and that we're potentially going to see a higher low from here, and then we just can continue the bullish momentum to the top side. But of course this higher high hasn't been formed yet, so we could also see more spikes to the top side just like we saw here. And yeah, if this happens, we could see a lot of interesting prices happening for Bitcoin in the coming weeks. And zooming into again to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that Bitcoin was in this huge consolidation formation, and this uptrend finally saw a little bit of downside because we saw this huge resistance coming into the market, and we also on the lower side we saw a lot of support coming into the market. Eventually this price of Bitcoin was getting squeezed into an apex, and we broke up before the apex was getting reached because Bitcoin tends to do that. So I think we will see a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support, and just like this earlier formation, I think we will see a little bit of a retest to test it as support, and from there we can also close the gap, and then we can aim for higher targets again. And this will be very healthy correction, and this could also mean that we're going to see very healthy price action for Bitcoin in the coming days. So for instance, we could see a little bit of a correction. So you are now ready and you can be prepared for what's coming next, because at this retest I'm going to buy more Bitcoin for the long term. So this could be the very next play for Bitcoin in the coming days. And yesterday Michael Saylor hints at the first Bitcoin purchase above $100,000. So this is insane, of course. He is just buying no matter what. He posted that maybe his portfolio tracker is missing a green dot. And if we go to his portfolio tracker, we can see he bought at the highest prices for Bitcoin, but he didn't buy above the $100,000 yet. So this could be his first purchase above the $100,000. And no matter what the price is, we can see green dots everywhere. And every green dot means that he is going to purchase more Bitcoin. And in total, he now owns a 47 billion in Bitcoin, and he is in total profit of 73%, and that is almost $20 billion. So this is insane, of course. And he will go down as one of the best investors ever in the history of investing, I think. And zooming out to the daily time frame, we can see that Bitcoin is still in this parabolic uptrend, and every time we touch this lower side support level, we saw a huge spike to the top side. So let's see if Bitcoin can separate itself from this huge parabolic uptrend and see a new parabolic move to the top side, because we are now coming to this huge support area. And as I was saying, I was waiting for this touch of this support area, and I was also buying more Bitcoin at this area. So let's see if we can see a separation of the bullish uptrend, and that we're going to see a continuation of the parabolic uptrend, because in the parabolic uptrend we are seeing exponential moves to the top side, and the price of Bitcoin will getting pushed to the top side, which is very bullish. So of course there could also be a bear scenario possible, that we're going to see a little bit of a break below this level, and that we have to aim for lower targets, and that we're going to shift from a huge bullish uptrend to a little bit of a downtrend. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think we will see more upside continuation for this bullish uptrend? Or do you think that Bitcoin is eventually going to see a huge correction and that we're coming below the $100,000 again? And looking at the Fear and Greed Index, we are currently at the extreme greed and we are at 87. But at the $107,000 and at the 87, I think this is still a little bit low. But of course, you always have to watch out when we are in extreme greed, because we are now in extreme greed for more than a month. So let's say what will happen for Bitcoin in the coming weeks. Maybe we can see a little bit of a correction, and that the Fear and Greed Index is going to see a little bit of cooling off to neutral phases, or maybe a little bit in the greed. So as I'm always saying, you always want to buy when we are in stages of red, and that means fear. So when fear is into the market, you want to buy, and we saw that a couple months ago, and that was the moment I was buying more Bitcoin. And now you can take more profits when we are in extreme greed, because I think we will eventually see a little bit of a correction happening for Bitcoin. And on the weekly time frame, there's also a very dangerous chart unfolding, because we are seeing this huge bearish divergence. We can see that Bitcoin is creating a higher high on the chart, and on the RSI we are seeing now a lower high unfolding. So this indicates a bearish divergence, which could also mean that we're going to see a little bit of a cool off of the RSI, and that we could also see a little bit of a correction for the price of Bitcoin on the charts. So on the weekly time frame, this bearish divergence is playing out. So this is your warning that you could potentially see a little bit of a correction, and at these prices I'm going to take a little bit of profits. Of course, I'm not going to sell everything at once, but you want to take in a little bit of profit before we could potentially see a little bit of a correction. And of course we are still in a huge uptrend, but keep in mind that corrections happens every time, also in a bull market. So you want to be prepared for what's next, and don't be greedy. Just take your profits, and you can wait for a little bit of a retest and a correction, and then you can enter the market again for Bitcoin for the long term. And the first altcoin I want to have a look at is Chainlink. We can see that Chainlink is showing a lot of interesting price movement. We can see this huge falling wedge was unfolding in the last months, which I was discussing with you and monitoring with you on my socials. Finally, we broke out bullish, and these bear market lows were finally breaking out to the top side. We retested this resistance as support multiple times. So we saw every time after a breakout, a beautiful retest of the resistance to turn it into support. And as we can see here, last week we saw a beautiful breakout, and this previous resistance was beautifully turned into support. And after that, we entered the market here for Chainlink in a long, and we are up for more than 50%. So this is insane, of course. And congratulations if you took this trade together with me. And if we then zoom out to the weekly time frame for Chainlink, we can see a lot of interesting horizontal resistance levels are unfolding, and this is the next big make or break level for Chainlink. Of course, this level has to be painted green because we're now turning it into support. But of course, we could see a little bit of a rejection coming into the market first at this level, because this is a very interesting and huge level for Chainlink to break. So if Chainlink is going to break it to the top side, then the next big resistance will be around this level, and it will be around the $33. So we are currently at the $28, so this could be a very interesting trade for Chainlink to make. But of course, you want to be entering the market after a bullish retest, and then we can possibly see more continuation to the top side. So keep in mind that we are currently at this huge resistance area and that we could see a little bit of a rejection coming in for Chainlink in the coming weeks. And the next interesting altcoin I've been monitoring with you is Cardano. We can see that Cardano is very bullish the last months, especially when Charles Hoskinson is going to cooperate with Donald Trump. I've been monitoring Cardano since we were at these bear market lows, and after that we saw a huge bullish spike to the top side after the election of Donald Trump. And we can see we broke a lot of interesting horizontal resistance areas, but now we can see this huge next horizontal resistance is a little bit too strong for Cardano. So in the past we can see a lot of price interactions here around this level, and as we can see here we are seeing a big rejection coming into play. But if we zoom into the 4-hour time frame, we can see this exponential move to the top side is happening, but we can now also see that the price of Cardano is getting squeezed into its apex. We can see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance, and also on the lower side we can see multiple touch points as support. So eventually this price of Cardano will getting squeezed into this apex, and we will see a next breakout to the either the top side or either the downside. So of course there are always more scenarios possible, but the chances are higher that we're going to see it break to the top side because we are still in a huge upside momentum. So let me know in the comments, do you still hold Cardano in your portfolio, and what do you think about the price prediction for Cardano in 2025? Currently, I personally think that Cardano will see levels around the $10 in the coming bull market. So I hope you liked today's video. And if you want to join my Telegram group for free, you can just click the link in the description under this video and you can join it for free. Please give this video a like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.